Hello, Splicer here. I just want to talk to you about a few things I'd love to see to come to Battlefield 1 in updates. And the first one I want to talk about is the Thompson submachine gun. Now, strictly, it wasn't actually used in World War One, but the patent for the design was actually filed in 1915, and the design was actually completed in 1918. So technically the weapon did exist, there was prototypes, and it was getting sort of tested on around the time World War One was going on. It wasn't actually used in a frontline role, but again, the weapon did exist within the time frame of World War One, and I'd love to see it get brought to the game in future updates. It actually got brought into existence because of the need for a trench warfare weapon. So at the time World War One was going on, everybody had rifles, and it wasn't ideal for clearing trenches, and so the way warfare had developed, and that's why John Bell Blish, put in a patent for the design and designed it. Originally named as the Annihilator 1, but once it was created, it changed to the Thompson submachine gun. So anyway, I'd love that to get brought into the game. Keeping in with the new trench warfare that I'd love to see come to the game. Next, what I'd like to see is aircraft carriers. They did exist. The first full-length flight deck was created by the British, called the HMS Argus, and that was in 1918 from a converted ocean liner. So it was allowing aircraft to take off and land within World War One. Equally, the Germans had designed and was in motion of creating an aircraft carrier. It wasn't completed by the time World War One was finished, but again, it's something that I'd love to see added to the game. I've made another video on potentially them being used as behemoths, which I've put in the description below for you to have a look at if you'd like. But equally, I'd love it to have, like Battlefield 4 had, where it had a carrier assault map and sort of custom game mode, where you start on aircraft carriers and then it almost incorporates more air warfare into the game. Because at the moment we're getting 1 or 2 aircraft, 3 aircraft potentially per map, and you're not getting allowed the time to sort of learn the aircraft and potentially get to the grips with how they could be. Equally, like Battlefield 4 have, I'd love to see them bring in a test range, so you can test these weapons, you can test the vehicles, and you can get to grips with them, so the first time that you don't get in one isn't in amongst and at the beginning of an actual game. Now, one thing I find really interesting, and again I keep going on about this trench warfare, but I'd love to see a custom game mode or more maps that incorporate trench warfare into Battlefield 1. But one thing I found interesting when I researched World War One is they had periscope rifles. So it was a device that attached to the rifles they had, and it gave them a periscope view of no man's land, and they could remotely fire the weapon whilst holding onto this device. So it's not anything too intricate. It's just sort of like a wooden frame, metal frame, with a periscope on, and allowed them to pull the trigger. Because at the time, you put your head above the trenches, it would get shot off by a sniper. So again, if DICE want to introduce trench warfare, it'd be mad if they didn't, because I know that's what a lot of people want. Potentially including the periscope rifle would be another spin on the game. They could add it as a device, an attachment to the weapons, or potentially within the scout class, something that you could attach, and it brings a more diverse ability to the game, make it more difficult. I know people have got a problem with scouts as it is, but I think it would be awesome to bring it into the game, and there's something a bit niche as well. Equally, camouflage was extremely important in World War One, and especially with the introduction of aircraft and sort of recon from the skies. All the militaries realised that they had to sort of camouflage themselves. Started out with vehicles, stationary weapon batteries, that sort of thing, but each individual soldier realised that it was quite important. Even so, especially with trench warfare that was going on in no man's land, the Germans sort of bringing in fake trees that you could snipe out of. So you'd crawl in the bottom, crawl to the top. It would look like a tree from the outside, but then you start getting rounds through it and killing the enemy through the tree, which I think's mad. And even there's been reports of using fake hollowed out sort of horse carcasses within no man's land that a scout could crawl into and then fire from there. And I'm not saying that DICE should introduce these sort of things into the game, But a major part of World War One obviously was the camouflage, and that's including snipers being camouflaged. So they'll take the surrounding sort of growth and cover themselves in it, and sort of incorporate themselves into the environment and into the background. And it was an important part of being a sniper in World War One. And it's difficult to introduce because I know we have a lot of sort of too many snipers at the moment in Battlefield 1, and sort of the map can get crowded with how many that you have, and incorporating camouflage into that would be quite difficult. But it might be sort of a process they can make, so when you crawl into position, then you can add this attachment and it will sort of incorporate some of the growth from that specific map and potentially disguise you a little bit more. But I don't know how they would, but I'd love to see sort of custom camouflage that you scouts could have, potentially some of the other classes. But I think it's something that will just make the game more diverse. It's started to get a little bit stale now. I know we've got a lot of DLCs coming, and it's this more niche sort of sedans, more customization that I think a lot of people would love. And yeah, I think it would make the game a lot better. Tell me what you think, put it in the comments section. If you agree or disagree, just let me know. If you like this video, please give it a like. And I'm always bringing out videos like this, so please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.